Well, good afternoon, everyone. 6:15 here in the UK on Tuesday, the 29th of March. And quite a strange market this afternoon, at least strange for me. The S&P is up 23 points and sitting around that 4599 level, a very important level that I'll speak about in a second. The trends on VectorVest are strongly up. And even if we close like this in a couple of hours, the longest term measure of the trend on VectorVest will have turned up. And that's been produced by a huge jump in the number of shares that are on a VectorVest buy as opposed to a VectorVest sell. So that looks pretty good from a trend perspective. I want now to have a look at my old friend the S&P 500 and show you, and you don't have to be much of a technician to see the roadblocks here. A very important level in the market, and that's that 4,600 level, 4599 I mentioned a second ago that we need to get through. So a very important level indeed, and I'll be much happier when we're through that. What have I been doing? Well, unfortunately I got stopped out of two positions this afternoon. First one, I think, CF, and I think I made a mistake here, folks, because as you can see, and maybe this chart's a bit cluttered, but price rose on rising volume, that's good, but here price in fact fell on rising volume, and maybe that was a heads up that there was a great deal of sellers around. So we all have this last hurrah, which I traded. I bought in at that open. There was a huge volume day here today, on that particular day, and it went up quite nicely. It went up on falling volume, and then all of a sudden it fell out of bed today. So maybe that was more obvious. That was obvious. They're always obvious in hindsight, I know, but yesterday afternoon after the VectorVest UK Q&A, I took off half, and I brought my stop to entry. I hadn't done that. I was remiss, and I got stopped out at the entry point. So a very interesting chart, a chart that I sit and work at for quite a while. And this last hurrah here could easily have been on falling volume, could easily have been some big players getting out of the market. The other one that I got stopped out of today, if I can find the right chart, is Archer Daniels. Again, I traded this. It was a spring. This was a really good setup, and it moved up very strongly indeed. Made some good money there. Got my stop to entry plus a bit, and I got stopped out right at that low today. But there's some money in the bank, so I can't complain. And maybe this big wide-ranging bar on modest volume was a heads up that in fact was going to reverse as well. So I'm still holding MATX. MATX, and that is starting to look quite good, I suppose. It went sideways here on falling volume, normally a good sign, and we had a nice day here, although it couldn't get through those highs. So I'm still in that, and my stop loss, in fact, the trade's in the money by a tick or two, but the stop loss, I haven't got the stop loss up to entry yet on that, so there's still some risk in that one. I'm still holding the GDX, and I'm very bullish on gold. Nevertheless, I have a short trade on gold, which has worked very well, and that's because I felt the gold market needed to pull back a little bit on the weekly chart, where previous resistance should become support with any luck at all. And I spoke about that at length yesterday at the VectorVest Q&A. This market has sold off. That's a 4-hour chart, folks. And then it traded one of my up thrusts, which is one of my textbook setups. And I'm short of it from 1943. and got my stop to entry very early on after the test. As you can see, it broke and it went back and tested. 40% of them test. And then it fell quite nicely. This is where we were in the VectorVest Q&A yesterday afternoon. In fact, I told everybody I'm hoping the test is over, and that was in fact the case. And then it dropped very nicely to the old low, as you can see. Big volume at the old low, but it couldn't close in the lows of the bar. So clearly there was a great deal of accumulation demand down around that area. It could of course been from people getting out of short positions. So I've got that position still running, and I've got the stop well above entry, and I've taken off most of the position. So if it goes again and breaks that low, I would be tempted to add back into that position again. And that's what William Gann used to do so many years ago. He wrote about it. He would scale in and out of positions when they broke major levels. So I would suspect the gold price can quite easily come back. And if this level goes, it can quite easily reproduce this bit on the downside. That won't happen easily, but nevertheless, it can happen. The other thing that I've done today is that I've taken a sneaky little short on the S&P. That's that 4,600 level that I spoke of. Market went up and reversed. Now this is really interesting, and this is something that is simple, but there was the opening bar, and the opening bar of the floor today. That happened on big volume, folks, but it couldn't in fact close in the upper area of the bar. So to me that was a bearish sign, and then it broke down through that level. It then went up, and it went up on falling volume, and now it would seem to be falling. So I'm short of that, and if I got 15 or 20 points out of it, I'd be the happiest man in the world. I was actually long of it this morning, so I felt that it was going to get to that obvious level, the level I pointed out a few minutes ago, and then at least come off it a tradable amount, but it's not shaping much at the moment. And just remember, if you ever at any trading in any trading time frame, folks, if the trade's not working out, don't be scared to scratch it. If you scratch it, if I scratch it now, I'll make a handful of points, as my friend Tom Hogarth would say, but at least I haven't lost anything. So certainly as an intraday player, I scratch an awful lot of my trades at maybe 2 or 3 ticks of a profit, 2 or 3 ticks of a loss. Don't have to take the full loss associated with the position if I think that the position is not going to work. So still hanging in there short, and as all things trading related, time will tell. So if we go back to the VectorVest US homepage, we still got this confirmed up in place. It should, with any luck, end like that today, and the S&P is sitting at 4595, giving up a couple of points since we last spoken. First of all, I'm not bearish, folks. I'm very bullish of the market. I just anticipate the market to come off that old high, a tradable amount, and I wouldn't be at all surprised to see a pullback soon. This market, if we go back to that S&P chart, where is it there? It's come such a long way. I wouldn't be at all surprised to see it in fact come back, maybe even to this high before we go again. So but the confirmed up is very positive, and that buy-sell ratio moving through the roof overnight is a very, very positive sign for stock market. So I remain very bullish. I haven't bought into any more UK positions as yet, and I'll be thinking about that tomorrow morning. I hope this helps. Thanks very much.